Welcome once again, and this is your show on Channel 196 on Star Times. This is Cool TV. My name is Dapo Banjo. Welcome to CROSSFIRE, and I will not be doing the show alone today. I will definitely be running the show with Barrister Ishoma Againe. Ishoma, how you doing today?
Very good. I hope you had a restful night. Good morning, Nigeria.
My night wasn't so restful.
Why?
And all
Traffic?
Traffic, and then I got home really very late, you know. But
Sorry.
Notwithstanding, I mean, we are back here, and we promised you yesterday that we'll bring updates for you on some certain issues that we raised yesterday. We have a couple of stories that are quite trending, and so we definitely will be throwing more light on some of these issues on the show today. And we wanted to get ready as we drive this show together. We have a couple of issues that we're raising, and we need your contribution. Let's know your thought on some of the issues that we'll be raising today. Let's quickly remind you that the presidential elections came up on March the 28th, and conclusively though, where the retired General Muhammadu Buhari was declared as the new, as the president-elect under the platform of the APC. And so we have every machinery that is being put in place towards the sworn-in proper. Yesterday, President Goodluck Jonathan transition team made it really very clear that the plan is such that at a dinner party on May the 28th, on the dinner party on May the 28th, that that is where the president, Goodluck Jonathan, will be handing over properly to the newly elected president of Nigeria, retired General Muhammadu Buhari. So all road is leading to this transition. All road is leading to the next president of Nigeria being sworn, and I believe very strongly that Nigerians are trying to manage their expectations of the change that we voted for. Ishoma, it is worthy to note that the governorship elections, that came up on 11th of April 2015 is not conclusive yet. We still don't have results from 3 states. That is Abia State, Taraba State, and
Imo State.
And Imo State. And so, I mean, I was trying to really pick information about the Imo State elections being declared as non-conclusive. This morning, I was listening to the National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, that's Olisa Metu, and he was saying that, I mean, the Imo State elections were characterized with the following: wrong result sheets, snatched result sheets, and then when the snatched result sheets were brought back, they returned the fake ones, which, some of them does not even carry, the state name and nomenclature. And this resulted into violence in some areas. And then he also mentioned that result collation from 216 polling units across 23 local governments with about 144 people in all, accredited to vote. So the Imo State elections, gubernatorial election, the governorship election is still inconclusive. And information have it that they are planning to do a rerun, a runoff in about 216 polling centers. That's across 23 local governments before that elections can be concluded.
I mean, of course, this is going to be a very tough battle for all the political parties involved in the running, because if they all want to clinch victory.
Yeah, I think the competition today is just between 3 parties. It's just between the APC, the PDP, and ABGA. So hopefully, by the time we get all the necessary information about the runoff, and then we'll come back and let. So it is really very important that you know that we still do not know who will be the next governor of Imo State. And the same thing applies to Abia State. The state electoral officer was said to have earlier cancelled, the result in 3 major localities in Abia State. That's Obioma Ngwa, Isiala Ngwa, and the Osisioma Ngwa local government, only for him to come around later and then authenticate the results. And so people felt, there is, a possibility of him being compromised.
Exactly. I like the fact that had to be inconclusive, because it was just to glare into the world that there was something fishy ongoing. But then let's wait and see what happens next?
All right, same for Taraba State. Taraba State will be doing a runoff, and then so all road is. All the two major parties, that's the PDP and the APC, are preparing very seriously.
And a lot of women, a lot of women are hoping that the female aspirants will emerge the governor because they really want to break. I mean, if they really want her to be the first female elected governor of the state. To be able to prove
I
that,
actually expected that the elections in Taraba State would have gone, would have been each free, such that, we can usher in that level of freshness and rewrite history in Nigeria as we elect, the first female governor for one of our states in Nigeria. So, but the elections in Taraba State, we heard, was full of electoral malpractices, ballot boxes snatching, result sheets not being available, multiple voting recorded, and all of that. And I think when we focus on 25th of April, which has been slated for the runoff, then we definitely will see a very smooth run when all machineries are deployed in Taraba State to monitor and manage the electoral process to help us see exactly what will definitely be happening there. All right, that being as it may, it is very important that we go straight into the topic that we have today, and that is the pension benefit of ex-governors. Pension benefit of ex-governors. Now, these are men and women, because we have many of them who actually served in the capacity of the deputy governor, and all of this benefit is extended to them. Now, the newly elected president of Nigeria, the president-elect, came up and said, no, I disagree very, very, seriously with the fact that you pay this much, and as we go on the show, Shoma will be taking us through each of the elements of this benefit, and then we're going to be looking at it, and we expect it to be a part of the show. Let us know, is this proper that ex-governors are entitled or are given this much entitlement? I belong to a school of thought, and I think I don't share the same opinion with Ishoma on some of these things. Yeah, I don't. Yes. I told you before we came on air that I seems to differ, from your position, but
our difference is slight.
It's slight. Okay, let's read it out and see, and see what's up. I'm supposed to be prompted to just lay a very good foundation to what we were supposed to be discussing. All of the elements present in the benefit, we're going to look at one after the other, and then being able to analyze it and see, is it worth it or is not worth it, and and all of those things. So let's see how far we can go with that.
Well, first of all, an undisclosed source. It's an undisclosed source, close to General Muhammadu Buhari, said that according to him, General Muhammadu Buhari was very blunt, and he said something was going to be done urgently on scrapping this because it's not something that the nation can sustain. And in the undisclosed source's opinion, the person said the feeling was that not only was it wrong and morally unconscionable, but that it was not something that should be encouraged, and he was appealing to them that it should be changed. Now, also understand that this law had been passed by some APC-led states and PDP-led states. So General Muhammadu Buhari coming in right now to kick against it shows that his position as the president and as the president-elect, and then the soon to be sworn-in president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, this is not a thing that the nation can sustain financially also. And morally, is it right that you give these individuals these huge benefits when the people, the citizens, who should have some necessary basic necessities do not have access to this because of financial constraints, and now you are throwing these financial dividends to some selected few? Now let's look at critically.
No, but before we go into the various elements of the benefits. Yes, before we go into that, it is really very important, Ishama, to know that across the divide, we have we have 36 states in Nigeria, and we have the Federal Capital Territory, each of the states, have enacted a particular law, to I don't want to use that word now. To give benefits. Let me put it that way: to give benefits to all the ex-governors when they leave office. These are some things that they are entitled to, knowing fully well, Ishoma, that some of them probably will serve just 4 years. Some of them will go on a maximum of 8 years. And we have civil servants who have served the nation as civil servants in the ministries who have served the nation for 28 years, 30 years. Don't forget that the civil service law says you put in 30 years and you retire. Or when you are 60, I think that has been changed to 65. I don't want to be quoted. But once you're 60 in service, you retire also. So it's either you fulfill the 30 years in service, or by the time you are 60 years exactly, you retire. And we have a major problem paying these people's pension. I said it on the show yesterday.
Now you're trying to agree with me.
Not particularly, but let's look at the element. And
let's use.
Don't put words in my mouth, Shoma. I have my position.
I'm going to use two major states here, Lagos and Rivers State, as critical examples. Although there are many other states like Akwa Ibom State also that has also passed it also.
Lagos State is 100%. Or your state is a very classical one, which, for me, it is 300%.
Okay, wait. Now, in Lagos State, for example, the Lagos State Governor and Deputy Governor Pensions Law of 2007 provides that a former governor and family, that is the spouse and children, both married and unmarried, are entitled to free medical treatment, which is not capped. And another highlight is that the ex-governor is entitled to a cook, a steward, gardener, and other domestic staffs who are pensionable. Now, the benefits the annual basic salary is 100% of annual basic salaries of the incumbent governor and deputy. Your accommodation, they will have one residential house in Lagos and another in the FCT for the former governor, and one residential house in Lagos for the deputy. So the deputy has only one in Lagos, while the governor has one in Lagos and the FCT. On transportation, 3 cars.
Let's look at it. Let's look at it one after the other.
Okay.
Because what your position is exactly. It is really very important that you take a position. Are you saying that this benefit should be paid, or you're saying it should not be paid?
I really do not want to take a position, a direct position.
You have to.
No.
You just have to take a position.
I do not want to take a direct position on this.
Okay,
I just want to be fair. I want to be fair right now on this issue. Now, you're giving these people a house. Obviously, it's going to be a house in Lagos within one of the high-borough areas in Lagos State, and definitely one of the high-borough areas in Abuja, the FCT. The civil servant who has dedicated over 30 years of their life to the service and the growth of the economy in that state do not even have a house. Many of them do not have a house of their own. They do not even have access to free, let me not say free, but to proper medical health care insurance schemes for themselves and their children. Many of them die careless. That's why. Because most of the diseases, they will tell you they do not have money. You see children here and there who have cancers or who have other treatments, other ailments that have, that need treatment that run into millions, but they cannot afford some of these basic necessities because of financial constraints. And one person, yes, of course, we understand the burden you bear while being the governor or the deputy governor of a state, but then the last time I checked, a leader is supposed to be a servant.
Okay.
You were there to serve the people and to put the interests of these people first before yourself.
All right.
I expected that civil servants should have probably a housing scheme. Okay, say in every month out of your pay check, will deduct so and so amount that's going to mortgage. So at the end of the year, at least you know that, okay, I have a roof over my head. By the time I finish paying this amount, this house will be for me and my children. I should have access to medical, insurance. So even if you're not feeling fine or you have a particular disease, at least your medical insurance covers you for this particular purpose.
Okay,
but
now
it's not happening.
Now, my position on this matter, you have made a valid point. But the truth is that in a society like ours, there is no, fingers will never be equal. That is the way God has created it. Now, for instance, in a setting like in Nigeria where there's a particular system of government that we run. Now, the governors are actually number one candidates, number one persons in all the states of the federation. Now, these are people who we elected into office. These are people that we gave responsibilities to. These are people who mortgaged. Let me tell you something. I want to believe that when you find yourself as the first man of a state, like the governor of Lagos State, I stand to be corrected, but I tell you, it's like you are putting 15 years of your life into active service. There's no sleep, there's no rest. You attend to every major issue. When there is a small fight that results into a major fracas in a particular environment, you are woken up from your sleep. When you don't even have time for your family. You don't have time to spend with your children. You don't have time to spend for yourself because the situation of the state becomes yours. Every affairs in that particular state becomes your responsibility. You preside over laws, over situations, over circumstances, people that work directly with you. These people deserve to be treated well. I am not against the fact that civil servants should be given, all the things you mentioned, but I'm simply saying that should not negate that should not come against whatever this law that have been enacted to give them this benefit. It shouldn't negate it. Don't forget that this person has built up a personality for God's sake. Let's assume that Ishoma Aga Ine is the president of Delta, is the governor of Delta State and haven't left office. You begin to walk around miserably. The number one person in that state at a point in time. I believe that these people deserve as much things as we can give them.
I know they deserve, but if you allowed me to complete the breakdown here, you will see that some of these things were unnecessary.
Okay, bring it up and let's hear it.
I've mentioned the annual basic salary. 100% of the annual basic salaries for the incumbent. Accommodation, one for the governor, one in Lagos and one at Abuja, and then for the deputy,
because he's still an important personality. Let me
transport.
Yeah.
3 cars. And then 2 backup cars and 1 pilot car for the ex-governor every 3 years, 2 cars, 2 backup cars, and 1 pilot car for the deputy governor every 3 years. How many families can boast of one?
Ishoma, he was a governor.
Wait, now, how many civil servants who have dedicated over 30 years of their lives, their brain capacity, that has also sacrificed their time at work for the development of that state? How many of them can boast of 1 car?
They go to work. Don't forget, they go to work, Ishoma. Civil servants, they go to work.
You do not want these people to cut corners and steal government money.
They've been doing it anyway. They've been doing it anyways.
I know there are so many.
Anyways, they've been doing it, Ishoma. So it really doesn't.
There are so many civil servants who were faithful and dedicated to their jobs. Your mother was a civil servant, right? Did she ever steal 1 kobo from the government coffers? True or false?
All right,
answer that.
No, I will answer you. But we're going to go on a short break now. When we come back, we will throw this open, very, very open. Because you see, I'm getting really, really, worked up now on this matter that you are raising. But we'll go on this break. When we come back, we will begin a proper analysis of this. We'll be right back.